Testosterone back for segment number 3 of preseason show number 3. We want to encourage you right now at this time to make sure you jump onto our website at testosteronesports.com. As soon as the show is over tonight, we'll be doing a live fantasy chat. Jeff, we do the fat chat every week after the show concludes.
Yeah, I mean, how sick are you of trying to choose between excellent running back A and excellent running back B? Well, if you've always picked the wrong guy, come on to our site. We're the place for you. We'll tell you exactly what you need to do in your starting matchups, coaching strategy chat. We also get into a little bit of who should I trade this guy for and any of that kind of stuff. So any questions that you have, strategy related, matchup related, come on to the site. We'd love to chat with you, love to get to know you. Come on, just shoot the BS with us. We'd love it.
Absolutely, and also on the site there's tons of other information. We have blogs as well as our two friends that do the show with us, Zach and Yeasty. They have blogs there too. Click on the blogs, you can check out rankings, there's stories on there. Our good friend John Hollywood Robinson just posted some projections as a story on the site, so there's breaking news. There's just a plethora of things out there, and one of the things you absolutely have to pick up while you're there is one of these Feed the Beast t-shirts, Jeff. We've got the Feed the Beast t-shirts out there for the people. Tell them how they can get one.
Well, Adrian Peterson is the beast. So if you want to support all day and you want to support him all day, get this t-shirt and tell the team, feed the beast. The more carries this guy gets, the better our fantasy teams are going to do. And even better than that is the more wins we're going to get as a Vikings team. So we need this guy to rush for about 2,000 yards this year. I believe he can do it.
Yep.
I know you can't. You do too. So go on and get your shirt and let's all rock the Feed the Beast.
And even better than that, the more t-shirts you buy, the more chance we have to actually do a complete season of the show. So we need your help. Go on, buy a Feed the Beast t-shirt. All the proceeds go to help keep us on the air. Testosterone Season 5. It's a labor of love. We don't do this just because we're getting rich off of it.
I'll pay for the show, man. Here. Oh, no.
No, we can't
Not
pay
this week.
We can't pay it with Lent. That's for sure. Okay, so diving into the next segment here of the fantasy knowledge from us to you, we like to do this thing that we call What Do You Expect? We did it last week. We broke down 16 NFL teams. We're going to start with the AFC South and the NFC South right here. Jeff, the Colts, we touched on them a little bit earlier, a team that has been one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL over the past 5, 6, 7 seasons. What do you expect in 2008 when the Colts have the ball?
Well, I expect them to start off on offense in a brand new stadium, and I really think that having this new field that the team can play on is going to make for fewer injuries. We've come to know the Colts as a high-powered offense, but they also have the most injury-laden team in the league. So I do think that that's going to help a lot to be on a new field. Jesse, I am concerned about the injury to Jeff Saturday. Peyton Manning's knee causes me a slight concern, although he's so cerebral that I think he's going to be the best quarterback that we've come to know and love. So I think everything's going to be as normal for them. They might have a little harder time running the football and audibling as they go. I am concerned about Joseph Adai being injury prone, so kind of keep an eye on what's going on there. If you do have Adai, you definitely want to get Dominic Rhodes.
Absolutely.
To back him up. But the passing game is going to be fantastic. Reggie Wayne will lead the way, and I think Anthony Gonzalez will totally take over Marvin Harrison's spot. He's 35 years old, so I'm totally avoiding Harrison in all leagues. He's just too old to be producing in the NFL, in my opinion. So we know that they love to throw the ball there, and another team in this division who loves to throw the ball, I think, is going to be the Texans. Jesse, what do you think when the Texans have the ball?
Well, I think there's going to be more balls flying when the Texans have the ball than on the set of a Jenna Jameson movie, realistically. I mean, balls are going to be flying everywhere. The Texans don't have a running game. Amon Green just took a pay cut from $3.8 million a year down to $1.8 million for this season, just so that they would keep him around. Amon Green is devoid of any talent. He's also devoid of any fantasy worth right now. So unless you're looking at round 11, 12, 13, and you're desperate for a number 5 back, you don't want to touch any Texans in the running game. They've got rookie Steve Slayton there. There's a young guy, Chris Taylor. Those guys are, long shot type guys, but realistically, this squad's going to move the ball through the passing game. Kevin Walter has looked good in the preseason, as has Matt Schaub, but the key to this whole entire offense will be Andre Johnson. Last year when Andre Johnson played, only Randy Moss and Terrell Owens produced more fantasy points per start than Andre Johnson. So if Andre Johnson can stay healthy, Jeff, I think the Texans' prolific passing attack will be in play, and fantasy owners will be duly rewarded in their passing game. The running game, not so much.
Yeah, something smells committee on that team to me.
Absolutely. Another running back committee situation kind of growing down in Tennessee, a team that loves to run the ball. Jeff, what do you expect when the Titans have the ball?
Well, I don't think they're going to throw the ball to any of their wide receivers, and to be honest with you, man, I don't know if I could come up with any of the wide receiver names. Brandon Jones.
Justin Gage is there.
Yeah, and Lavelle Hawkins, who I think could be good eventually, but their number one passing target likely will be Algie Crumpler, who has a tight end I love. He's got top 5 talent, getting a little bit older in the NFL now, seeing his window of productivity closing, and he's on a team who's really mimics the Falcons, who he came from, a rushing quarterback who's going to be able to get him the ball, and I think that they'll develop a nice chemistry in the passing game. As far as running the ball goes, they have 3 quality running backs. Lendale White, who's pretty pudgy, but he can move the chains. They've got real shifty and quick Chris Johnson, who looks to me like he's got all the makings of a high-profile back in this league. And then Chris Henry to provide an injury punch. You know, like if Chris Johnson gets hurt, he'll be able to step in and produce on a high level. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, but a lot of low-scoring games and then relying on their defense, in my opinion, for the Titans.
Absolutely.
Well, the other team in the division who's very similarly built as the Titans is the Jaguars. A lot of rushing, not much passing. Jesse, what do you expect when the Jags have the football?
Well, when the Jags have the football, I expect them to be extremely effective at rushing the ball. I mean, they've got this two-headed monster, Maurice Jones-Drew and Fred Taylor. I told you a year ago on this very show that I felt like Fred Taylor would rush for more yards than Maurice Jones-Drew in 2007. He did that, and Fred Taylor is healthy still. Maurice Jones-Drew is helping Fred Taylor hold on, and I think that trend continues. This two-headed monster will be in full force again. Their offensive line is a good quality offensive line, and their quarterback, David Garrard, is very heady. Now, that said, Garrard's wide receivers, they leave a little bit to be desired. They're better than the Titans' wide receivers, but they're not very healthy. I mean, Reggie Williams has struggled with injury, as has Jerry Porter throughout the preseason. So David Garrard, who we have thought of in some situations as a possible sleeper quarterback this year, he's going to have to do a little bit more damage with his legs early on until he gets a chemistry going with his wide receivers. But, Jeff, I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say this is the season that the Jags overtake this division. I think they topple the Colts this season, man. Is that ballsy or what?
It's pretty ballsy, dude. I mean, I can't necessarily hitch my boat to your wagon and stuff like that, but I've seen crazier things happen in the NFL. So
my wagon doesn't want your boat anywhere near it.
Well, then you're not going to win too much, homie.
So we'll skip on over to the NFC South, where the Saints are in full effect, a team that was disappointed a little bit last season with a poor showing, struggled early on in the season. Jeff, they've come back. They've got some guys healthy. What are the Saints going to do on offense? What do you expect when they have the ball?
Well, we went from 2 teams who are going to run the ball only to one team who I think might just only pass the ball. Last season, the Saints got out to a slow start, and it was all based on the play of Drew Brees. This team's going to live and die with their starting quarterback, and he's a good guy to hitch your wagon to. Honestly, I think that they're going to throw the ball like crazy, and I love Marcus Colston, his ability to stretch the field. They added big Jeremy Shockey. I think he's going to work wonders underneath for them in the middle. And then Reggie Bush is going to do his thing on the outside. So I like their passing game a lot. They've got some nice young playmakers in Robert Meacham. I still think Devery Henderson is coming around, and David Patton should do a nice job filling out the starting lineup there. I do think this team needs a big rusher up the middle to move the chains when they're on 3rd and short and 2nd and short. And I think that they'd be very wise to sign one Sean Alexander.
Yeah, they definitely have a need there. I mean, we were talking about this pre-show. None of their other running backs outside of Reggie Bush have really looked very polished in the preseason, and Deuce might be done.
Yeah, he very well could be done, and it just doesn't look like he's going to come back. This is his 2nd torn ACL. Let's keep that in mind. And as they go, they don't have any real guys who can get that 1st and 1 yard touchdown. You know, they need a guy at the goal line who can batter that defense. And Alexander can still do that type of a thing. In Sean Payton's offense, he could be very, very viable. So keep an eye on what's going on there. They need that one more playmaker. One team on the other side of this division, the Panthers, very well could vie for this division. Jesse, it'll be very interesting to me to see what they do. They were the Cardiac Kitties last year. Now they have a chance to fight with the Saints for the division. What do you think they're going to be like when they have the ball?
Well, this team has traditionally been a very hard team for me to call. I mean, last year we sat on the set and said they might be Super Bowl contenders, and they really went in the tank once Jake Delhomme got injured. So I'm going to go with that as my key. If Jake Delhomme stays healthy, this offense will be explosive. In his 3 starts last year, he had passed 8 touchdown passes in only 3 games. Steve Smith was on fire during that phase. So as long as Delhomme stays healthy, they will be very good. They've also upgraded their rushing attack with Jonathan Stewart. Yeah, he still got the nagging toe injury, but Stewart had 102 yards rushing on only 10 carries in his 3rd preseason game, so he looks good. D'Angelo Williams looks very explosive. The combo backfield platter is going to be in full effect for the Panthers, and once Steve Smith returns from that 2-game suspension, I think the additions of Muhsin Muhammad and DJ Hackett to that wide receiver core and the upgrades along the offensive line, I think the Panthers are a force to be reckoned with, and I love them on offense. I've bought low on Steve Smith in a couple of my leagues. I think he could have a very, very good season this year, so I'm expecting big things from the Panthers. The Falcons, we touched on their new quarterback in the rookies segment. Jeff, when the Falcons have the ball, what do you expect?
Well, it's tough for me to say. I think this team could be a nice surprise. I really do like what Matt Ryan brings to the team, and he brings it on a real consistent level that's not going to get in trouble in the Atlanta nightlife.
Exactly.
He's not going to be fighting dogs against each other or anything like that. So we don't have to worry about him going to jail or anything.
That's a positive.
And I'll tell you, he's got a nice wide receiver in Roddy White. That kid's got skills. And I think that if they can develop that chemistry, yeah, they're lacking a decent tight end or much of a secondary threat in the passing game. I'm not quite sure what Roydell Williams can bring to the table. It'll be interesting to see, for me, what they do as far as spreading the ball around. But I do think that they will run the ball considerably on this offense. And I like Michael Turner. Cat busted off like a 65-yard run in the preseason.
Explosive ability.
And he looks great. So go ahead and I'm starting to come around a little bit more as I think they can throw the ball. Michael Turner's going to do some nice things. So I think this is an offense you can buy low on and really do well here as the season goes. You're not going to have to invest in Michael Turner as your number 2. He can be your number 3 running back if you want him to be. So he's going to be nice for you in that situation. One team that I think might have a little harder time running the ball this year is the Buccaneers, Jesse. A little bit lack of a passing game. What do you think when this team has the ball?
Well, the Bucs were a team that made it into the playoffs last year and fizzled in their first appearance. They lost, of course, to the Giants in the Giants' magical Super Bowl run. Now, the Bucs are a team that is really getting up there in years. Key positions on defense, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, those guys are very old. The 2 key positions on offense, Jeff Garcia, Joey Galloway. I mean, these guys they're entering the twilight of their career. They're at the end of the end, essentially. So this team, they're basically going to go as far, in my opinion, as Ernest Graham's legs can take them. I think Ernest Graham will be the key to their offensive attack this season. And I'm a little bit concerned about Ernest Graham. I mean, he didn't do it for a whole season last year. He was really good for about 6 or 7 games down the stretch. They gave him a mediocre contract extension. So, I like Graham. He's a great number 3. If you've got him as your number 2, I hope your number 1 is Adrian Peterson. But realistically, this team is a team that has the makings of a flop to me, and I'm just concerned that their age and a couple injuries at a couple key positions could maybe catch up to them. I'm not sold, man.
Yeah, I hear you there, man. It's going to be tough for them to do what they did last year, which was make the playoffs.
Very tough.
So we'll be watching this team, although neither of us have really invested much at all fantasy football-wise.
Not a single player.
Yeah, me neither. So when that happens and we bail off of teams like that, you want to take notice.
I think I got Joey Galloway for $1 in a couple of my auctions. And $1 Joey Galloway, I mean, if he stays healthy, you're going to get 1,200 or 1,300 yards from him. If he sucks, you just go ahead and drop him.
Yeah, his hair's gray, man.
No kidding. Well, we thank you for joining us. We've got one more segment to bring forth. It's going to be another segment in this same style. Check out this break, and we'll be back right after this. Testosterone Fantasy Sports.
What's up, fantasy football junkies? It's Jesse. You're checking us out behind the scenes on the set of Testosterone Fantasy Sports, the #1 fantasy football show for prognostication in the Twin Cities area on cable access. You want to make sure you check out our website as well while you're here looking at the show. Go online, testosteronesports.com. There's so much stuff on there for you content-wise. You want to see the rankings, you want to see the writers' pages, but above all, you want to see this video content that we put out there updated on a weekly basis. So if you missed the show, check it out online at testosteronesports.com.
Hey everybody, we'd really like to thank all of our supporters. We here at Testosterone Sports put a lot of effort into the production that we do on a weekly basis. Go on there, specifically come onto the Fat Chat. You get a chance to interact with all of us, with other people around the Twin Cities. We just love fantasy football, and it's something that we do on a regular basis, so check it out. Join with us to win in your league. It's something we love, and we just appreciate everything that you guys do to join in to be the 4th member of Testosterone.
Can't get enough of the yeast or all these guys. You have rants and raves you want to read. Check out our writers pages on the website, testosteronesports.com. I go off on a weekly basis. Jeff brags about how good his team is in our league. Jesse has some crazy stuff on there. There's a guy named Will who drops some things I can't talk about on television. Check out our writers pages, testosteronesports.com, for a little more of the yeast.